Destination mark.
Hey guys, how's it going? Marcelo here, back again for another podcast with G-Man. What's up?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Okay, so we're recording this a little bit differently from our last two podcasts. In the last two podcasts, we had G-Man record all of his audio, give it to me via like these little videos and such that he was making, and then I had to go in and edit all that stuff, and it took forever. We're using OBS. Hopefully it's better. Only problem is, we're on Discord, so I don't know. He might lag out every so often, or maybe even just throughout the whole freaking thing. I don't know. But we'll just play it by ear and see what happens. So
That's right.
there's a lot to go over here. So we've got a list.
To go down.
We've got a list. We checked it twice. So do you want to get started? Do you remember what the first point was?
Well, would it really matter what particular order we start from?
Well, I do want to end off on two very important things that are still pretty much relevant, that are the latest things.
Alright.
I guess. Well, there was a slew of news that's come out for Crash very recently. So I guess we can start with
From the beginning all the way to the end, from the most recent latest news.
oh yeah, of this bundle of news. We're not gonna start from like I don't even know what the first news is, from like the early trailers or some shit. No, we're gonna go over as early as about the upstream playthrough, just so we can get our thoughts on how that looks and how that feels and everything. So what are your thoughts?
Well, for when they showed off the upstream level, it looked really awesome. I like the fact that they're really paying attention to detail, not only with obviously all the redesigns of the characters, but obviously for all of the revamped levels, because it's a remaster from the ground up, not a remake. But since they consider it a remaster plus, they push the limitations of what the PS4 Power console can actually put onto the system. Because if you want to see 1996, 1997, and 1998 Crash Bandicoot Naughty Dog trilogy on a next-gen console for the 21st century, then this is what you get. And honestly, from what they showed off, it looked really cool. The music, of course, did sound really catchy. I also like the fact that it wasn't just complete dead silence where you just heard the game audio itself. The fact that they actually did have a little bit of narrating in the background, so that way they could, of course, give Vicarious Visions credit for all their hard work that they put into this project, because it only took them literally just a few months to start and finish this whole project. But also because they got to explain, like, oh, look at how I got to go off and show how to fully complete the level 100%, how to get the clear gem, and also for the bonus secret that you have to get the orange gem from the generator room later on in the game. So overall, it looked really cool, but in my opinion, the biggest highlight was the fact that they actually added in a brand new animation, because when Crash went to that Tawna bonus round, and at the very end of it, right before you exit out of the warp room, Tawna does her little yay jump animation for Crash, but then Cortex comes flying in out of nowhere on his little hoverboard and actually steals her. And that wasn't in the original, so the fact that they actually added in this now, it is actually pretty cool for a new animation, because there's a lot of new animations that they have, not only for Crash with his death animations, but there's a lot more that we still haven't seen yet that they're going to show eventually later down the road, and then when the final version comes out. But also, I know the main reason why they actually added in that new animation, it was because it's trying to also connect to the main plot itself, because Tawna's the damsel in distress and Crash has to go save her, so it's trying to hint at the fact that, seeing as how now she's actually acting more like a heroine, seeing as how she actually tried to defend herself in the intro cutscene, it's the fact that she's trying to escape from Cortex's castle, but she always ends up getting kidnapped and taken right back to square one. But regardless of the situation, it was still pretty cool that they got to show off that level. And then immediately, as soon as all of us saw it, immediately I started texting you and tweeting at you, hoping that you were going to make a reaction video, and you did. So thank you once again for that.
Actually, not that it upset people, you know, exactly, but people weren't, they were wondering how come I didn't make, a reaction video to one of the other playthroughs we'll talk about later, and I'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool, the whole new Tawna animation. It makes you wonder what other variants of that will they have, because there can't just be that one new animation and that's it. So I'm thinking there might be a ton more that we'll find later on. And it does
keep in mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep in mind, we still have also the Brio and the Cortex bonus rounds.
Yes.
So we still have to see those redone animations, or if they actually add in something new as well.
Yeah, because we haven't seen anything from the Cortex ones, and I pray to God they don't show off anything for that. For those new people who have no clue about all that stuff, that part needs to be kept secret, because even I, as a kid, was like, oh God, there's freaking Cortex too. Like, it was a really nice revelation when we, you know, actually got to like Sunset Vista and found out, oh, there's Cortex, because there's only 2 sets for Sunset Vista and Just Darkness, because those lead to the keys. So like, it'd be best to keep that a complete and utter secret, which I feel like they will. So we have to see that for ourselves. But we've already seen Tawna, we've already seen Brio. Brio is confirmed to still explode himself when you get near him, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. The level itself for Upstream, yeah, it's really vibrant, really good. I remember some people complained that it looked like in the river itself, it looked like it was too shallow, and it's like, how could Crash how could Crash ever drown himself in shallow ass water? Well, I actually went back and played the original game, and even the Hang 8 levels, those themed levels in Crash 2, and yeah, no, they were that shallow in the original. So yeah. I was like, okay. I always thought they were like really deep and like supposed to be like, okay, so if you drown, it's kind of justified in the terms of the game because it's a deep river, but it's actually not.
Well, also it makes sense in general because Crash himself, he can't swim. He's just like Sonic. Yeah.
I noticed that they put an extra little platform at the very beginning because that's supposed to be where the clock appears for the time trials. So that was pretty funny. It's just there. So
yeah. Also, let's not forget, right before they actually showed off the redone Upstream level, is the fact that at the very beginning,
oh my God,
right when they were trying to show off the world map, the fact that how beautiful it looked.
That
not only that,
world
but also not only that, but also keep in mind the rest of the stuff that they showed us from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. The fact that they showed off the Relic time trials, and it shows off how to get first, second, and third place if you're trying to get all of the relics leading up to the big platinum one.
Yeah.
They also showed off the fact that you can, of course, auto-save after every level, even during checkpoints now, or you could manually save yourself. It's up to you how you want to save the game now.
Yeah.
And, of course, it also does a much better job listing off, you know, how to fully complete every level 100%. You know, how many crates did you break? Because now they show your level progression.
Thank God.
Oh, did you collect a clear gem? Did you have to go backtrack because you have to get a color gem in order to unlock the secret path? So they're trying to broaden it and open it up to a wider new audience, because keep in mind, in the original trilogy we didn't have this, and obviously it made sense why, because limitations of the console, there's only so much you could hold on the memory of a disc at the time. But I feel like if Naughty Dog could go back and look at all the improvements that they could have made with the trilogy, and
it'd probably be this
to Vicarious Visions work, because I even heard themselves, Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin, they are really impressed and pleased with VV's work. They think they're doing a fantastic job.
That's awesome. Next topic at hand, the Cortex, I call it the Cortex showcase video. It's basically a character video highlighting Cortex from Crash 1 and 2. We actually saw some new animations and new little scenes there with Cortex.
Small little segments shown off.
The fight from Crash 2, the fight from Crash 1, and also the opening cutscene. At the
very end, his little laugh when he first discovers the power of the ancient crystals in the intro cutscene for Crash 2.
Yeah. Plus, I love that laugh because it really, really reminds me of Clancy's Cortex laugh, so I thought that was a neat touch.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to invoke that, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot that was new. Oh, we also got to see his hologram head, so that's pretty cool.
Bring me crystals!
So, and that actually comes from when you decide to fuck around and not get the crystals and you piss them off.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That's
that you kept
one thing. that's one thing that we're going to have to keep in mind, is that when we're first playing the Crash 2 remaster, the first time you go into the first level, Turtle Woods, just don't pick up the crystal, just go inside and then exit out back to the main warp room. So that way you can hear the extra hidden dialogue where Cortex actually starts insulting Crash and then gets really frustrated, like, okay, here's what the crystals look like.
Yeah.
Please bring me crystals.
And then also, I also want to see the alternate takes when you piss off Aku Aku in Crash 3. He does the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
So what other kinds of character videos do you think they could potentially... I still want one for Coco. I want to see what she looks like.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. For me personally, I'm not too hyped that much to see Coco's redesign because I'm already imagining myself exactly how she's going to look. It's just going to be exactly the same clothes from Crash 2
But with
and 3.
textures.
Although, yeah, the fact that she's going to have the exact same amount of fur detail just like Crash because they're both bandicoots. But I'm mostly excited just to hear Debbie Derryberry actually voicing Coco in Crash 2 to see how she's gonna reprise her role of this character after so many years and how it's gonna sound. And then immediately people want to do comparison videos seeing how it sounds, whether people argue if it sounds better or worse compared to Vicky Winters, because both voice actresses are really good. It's just that I'm interested to see how she's gonna try to do a little impression of Vicky Winters, because that's what the voice actors are telling all of these actors and actresses. But as far as what else they show, other than obviously because people want to really see Coco's redesign, I think what they should really do in order to show off her redesign is actually show off the full intro remade cutscene for Crash 2. Because the fact that we already got to see just a small little segment of Cortex discovering the power of the ancient crystals and then doing his little laugh in the pitch black darkness, I think we should see that intro in its entirety to see how they made it a lot more goofy and cartoony, seeing as now it's all in CGI beautiful animation. And then, of course, at the very end, that's when, for the first time ever in the series, we were introduced to Coco Bandicoot, where she says the classic lines,
Crash, 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 my battery is flying. Make yourself useful, big brother, and bring an extra battery for me.
so I'm interested to see that and hear it from Debbie this time around.
Yeah, regarding her voice, I'm thinking Debbie initially played her straight in Wrath of Cortex, which was her first role as Coco, so she sounded way younger.
Yeah.
In comparison to like Mind Over Mutant, which was the last time that she had voiced Coco, where she just sounds like Jimmy Neutron, essentially.
Yeah.
A girl version of Jimmy Neutron. But what I'm thinking is, for Insane Trilogy, she's probably just gonna try and go back to that, you know, younger sounding Coco, and might even try and pitch it even a little higher up, since she's supposed to be like more of a kid, you know, so.
Yeah. It is supposed to make sense if she's supposed to sound the way that she did for the first time she voiced the character from Wrath of Cortex, because by the time we got to the modern Radical Crash games from Titans and Mutants, around that time, not only Coco, but the entire Bandicoot family, including Aku, by that time, at least in terms of their age, since it was never told, they're at least implying that they're all adults by that time of those games' release. But back then, in Wrath of Cortex, she was supposed to still be a really young kid, almost to a teenager, even though we never knew how old they really were.
Yeah. Yeah, what other characters do you think they could potentially make character videos out of? Like, what character would you like to see them make a character video out of?
Well, there's a few particular characters that I really want to see, although, in my opinion, I feel like we're not going to see them until, of course, E3's conference coming up, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. Well, if there's at least one other character that they could show off soon, besides Coco, that's also from the Crash 2 remaster and Crash 3, it would have to be, obviously, Tiny Tiger. I'm really excited to see how he's gonna look.
Yeah, they haven't shown off anything for him.
Yeah. And obviously, for those that are wondering, what other characters am I possibly talking about? Well, from Crash 3, that's when we were introduced to Dingodile, Purah, and of course, Baby T, the green little dinosaur that Crash got to rode on. So, in my opinion, they're not going to show off those characters yet, or anything regarding the Warped Remaster until E3, because that's when they want to save up for the big guns to release one big final trailer to show off the final game in the trilogy and showcase all three right before, at the end of the month, we finally release worldwide to the public. So for right now, if people are wondering why we keep seeing so much news for the Crash 1 and Crash 2 remaster, but nothing about the Crash 3 remaster yet, that's the reason.
Yeah.
Save it for E3.
Pretty much. Yeah, and since it's like just about a month away now, it's clear. It's totally clear. Yeah, I would love to see Entropy actually, like a cool little character video for Entropy. That'd be awesome. See him in like his review when he's in the shadows and he comes into full screen in the intro. Get to see his boss fight a little bit because we haven't seen in video anyway. We haven't seen any other characters' boss fights besides Papu Papu's in that very first reveal trailer, and we saw a couple screenshots from Komodo Brothers fight. But besides that, we've seen nothing about any other characters' boss fights in any of the 3 games. Or again, mainly in Crash 1 and 2, since they haven't shown anything for Warped at all.
Also, don't forget, a lot of other people really want to see our personal fan favorite Crash character, Ripperoo. We still have yet to see his redesign, and the first time we saw him was in the first Crash game. And also, what surprises me even more is the fact that this time around, he's actually voiced by Jess Harnell. And we did hear the confirmed news that they're actually not going to use that classic pitched Disney hyena laugh that he did from the Lady and the Tramp movie because of copyright from Disney. So this time around, Jess Harnell is actually going to have to redo Ripperoo's classic laugh. So I'm interested to see how it's going to sound.
Yeah, same. Because we've already heard him do another laugh for another character, which was Pinstripe's little goon in Cortex Power. Which sounded pretty cool. A lot of people in the comments of the video that I put out, where they were saying like, "Oh, he sounds like Crash." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Jess Harnell."
Yeah.
So speaking of Cortex Power, let's actually segue into that. They did a comparison video showing the original game and the new one side by side. So we just did a Cortex Power.
I thought that one looked really cool as well. Although
the lighting is amazing. Like everything about it looks really good.
Yeah. Of course, the lighting, the traps that are all set up that you have to jump over, the enemies, and of course, Pinstripe's little goons that always pop up out of the blue that try to shoot Crash down. And the fact that many people at first were wondering, oh, why the heck does that sound like Crash? Because it's the same voice actor.
The one thing I thought was really funny that, of course, they were inevitably going to have to change up at least a little bit is the fact that his little pistols, he shoots them a bit differently, and they try to make it a little bit. They try to make it look a little more friendly, and like it doesn't sound like the of like the original guns.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Now they're actually trying to make it look a lot more natural for when he's actually shooting those pistols instead of it just going the traditional sound it did in the original.
Well, because at the same time as well with the sensors and everything, they're going to kind of want to make it a little more friendly for the new generation, just because that's just how it is nowadays, which kind of does suck in hindsight, but I have no problem with it.
Although they did already announce from the ESRB rating system that this trilogy is going to be rated E10, because obviously they had to still include and get away with, you know, Tawna's redesign and obviously also Pinstripe's Tommy gun.
Yeah.
So there were just a few minor things that they still had to keep because that's how they got away with it in the original trilogy. It's not anything major, it's just some things that wouldn't be quoted too kid-friendly.
Speaking of which, I wonder if they're going to keep that big breast joke from Warped. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
A woman with nice big bags of ice from my head. I wonder if they're going to keep that in.
I'm sure they will. I guarantee they will, because they're trying to keep in every single line of dialogue and trying to redo it all with all the modern Crash voice actors. So he's definitely going to say that. I just want to hear Lex's take on it, how he's going to sound, if he's going to sound like,
"Oh, defeated again! This is not fair! Maybe I should retire to a nice beach with a nice big drink and a woman with nice big bags of ice for my head.
The funny thing about that scene is that you clearly see him do the animation of his hands kind of circling that area on the chest.
Right.
Now we get to see that in fine detail, so I wonder if they're going to keep him doing that animation as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
boy.
will. I guarantee it. They will.
It's going to be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Cortex Power, though, back on topic, looks really good. I enjoy it. The only one thing I knew people were going to end up griping about is the red pipes are now yellow, but it's a fine change. It's not even... It's still within the same kind of general spectrum, so it's not even that big of a change. If it was like green or something, it'd be a little weird, but...
It's not a major change, it's just a small minor change.
But that was fine. Everything else looks good. The sound effects, everything, it's nice. Plus, that was the first level and instance where we get to see that Vivi actually went in and changed up the Aku Aku icon on the boxes. It's no longer the Skylanders Aku Aku. They made a different icon that looks a bit more like the original from the original trilogy, so that's pretty cool. Some eagle-eyed people caught that, and I thought that was really neat. So yeah, the level looks awesome. It was only like a 20-second clip. You can check it out on either my channel or just the Crash Bandicoot official YouTube page and all that stuff. You can also find it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So let's talk about the Friends pack. That was actually a really cool little reveal. It came like almost the same day as Cortex Power, I think. So, actually no, it came a little after. But the Friends pack is essentially you get a nice. You get a nice polar theme. You get
What?
Slow down.
Okay.
Slow down there, because keep in mind, before we talk about the Friends pack and everything else that was revealed all on that same day, we should go back to when they showed off the official main Cortex showcase trailer, because there were two other things that happened that same day, later that night.
Okay.
First of all, for this month, since we're now in the month of May, it's hard to believe, but yes, this year is flying by. Since we're in the month of May, in PlayStation Magazine from the UK, their particular issue, 135.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This particular month, I showed you the image, and I showed a bunch of other people on Twitter the fact that this one, a lot of people should definitely buy if they're Crash fans, because it's going to talk all about the fact that they got full hands-on demo gameplay for all of the demos that we've seen so far from the Insane Trilogy that they released to the public, and they're going to talk about it and go into full detail and show off as much as possible. The only thing that unfortunately it's not going to include, because I know how their little tradition is that every issue they like to include little goodies and gifts inside, is that if you were expecting them to include an Insane Trilogy poster or even a recorded CD disc that has some of the songs from the remastered trilogy on it, unfortunately no. But if you still want to hear all they have to say regarding the Insane Trilogy before it releases at the end of next month, then I highly recommend you guys pick it up. If you're in the UK, it's already out, obviously. But if you're in the US, then you're going to have to wait a little while, because right now it says that it's available if you want to pre-order it at any of your local bookstores, but it's not released out yet over here in the US, so we're going to have to wait a while. Then when it does come out, I'm personally going to buy an issue myself and do an unboxing of it, and I want to read everything they say regarding the small little topic of the Insane Trilogy.
Nice.
And now let's move on to number 2. This one, I'm surprised you actually didn't bring it up right after the Cortex Showcase trailer, because this one, did I not say this was going to happen? Did I not call this, people? The fact that many people thought, oh, well, this could be a good fan idea, but no, people didn't believe me that this was actually going to happen. Now, keep in mind, this is not for a pre-order bonus, because people are still wondering later down the road if they're actually going to possibly announce other pre-order editions for Insane Trilogy, because there were fake rumors popping up regarding a steelbook design with Aku on the front cover, if that was actually going to be a pre-order, but it was obviously photoshopped. We knew it ahead of time, but you never know. Maybe at E3 they could announce one big final pre-order surprise. However, Activision did confirm that they are in fact going to make Crash Bandicoot collectible action figures. Not only that, but Spyro the Dragon collectible action figures.
Yeah. I think you're referring to the first 4 figures statues. Because that's mainly them. Activision mainly just gave them the rights to do it. And that could be a whole other like fucking hour-long discussion in and of itself, because the one thing that surprised us was that Spyro's design is the classic Spyro.
Based off of the box art from the first game.
So I was getting excited because finally, I know this is Crash, but finally, just to go off topic really briefly, we're getting a classic Spyro thing, a little thing, you know, technically, but still something pretty cool for classic Spyro in 2017. And now, see, I thought I was crazy in this. I told this to my brother, like a good couple weeks ago when I put all this together, and I'm so glad I'm not the only one who thinks this. You think this? Link down below, I guess, to a video for Crystal Fissure, who also thinks this. He made a video about it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Or I think Teal Game Master did too. All of us who follow Crash and Spyro stuff.
You could say anyone who's also a Spyro fan, not just a Crash fan.
Yeah.
All of us can 100% agree and confirm that, judging from this small little tease announcement, the fact that Spyro is actually going to get his own collectible action figure statue, exactly like Crash, also with the design from classic Insomniac Spyro from Spyro 1, that obviously expects us to believe.
And Skylanders 2017 isn't a thing.
Yeah.
So
and seeing as how next year is the franchise's 20th anniversary.
Yep.
That expects us to believe that either this year or next year, whatever comes first, they're most likely going to announce,
this year.
I guarantee it, guys, the remastered Spyro the Dragon trilogy, where he's getting the exact same treatment as Crash. It could either
that could be a whole other discussion in of itself too.
Yeah. We don't want to get off too much topic from Crash, obviously, but
it's
all
food
I have
for
to
thought.
say, guys, yeah, all I have to say is just wait until E3, and even if nothing happens, keep in mind we still have Experience at the end of the year, and if nothing happens there, keep in mind, guys, you always have next year, and it would actually make more sense if they actually announced it next year, because that would prepare the fans a lot more to get hyped up and excited for what they have planned for Spyro. But I guarantee Spyro is going to get the exact same treatment as Crash.
Because no one believed us. No one believed us when we wanted Crash to come back, and look what's going on. So Spyro.
Yeah. Because I understand, you know, they're trying their best to still keep Spyro relevant in the Skylanders spin-off universe, with obviously Skylanders Academy Season 2 that's coming soon, and, you know, the rumored reports that Skylanders 7 in the main series got canceled because they have some other big special plans in order to celebrate the franchise's 20th anniversary. But guys, don't worry. You have nothing to fret about. I guarantee Spyro is going to get the exact same treatment as Crash. Plus, keep in mind, many people don't know this, but this is a true fact, that the Spyro the Dragon franchise as itself is actually more successful and popular compared to Crash Bandicoot. That's not an opinion, that's a true fact. If you looked at its success over the years, when you compare its success to Crash, then you'll actually see that Spyro has always been successful. Crash, it makes sense why, you know, they wanted to bring him in the Skylanders as well as give him a remastered trilogy. But for Spyro, he's been relevant, at least the character, not the franchise, has been relevant over the past few years, thanks to the Skylanders franchise. But the franchise itself will make a return. They do want to try to go back to that original style from the Insomniac PS1 trilogy, exactly the same way that they're giving the treatment of Crash, trying to go back to the Naughty Dog style.
Yeah. And the only reason why we're speculating it could happen as early as this year's E3 is only because when you think about it with Crash, his comeback was announced at E3 last year, and just barely now this year, after this year's E3, Insane Trilogy is actually coming out. So that's a year's time span. So since Spyro's anniversary is next year, if they did try to get on the ball and announce something as early as in another month from now, I wouldn't be really surprised, but I'd be hella excited. So of course, you know, that'd be awesome. But we've talked about Spyro way too much. This is about Crash, so let's get back on track and talk about that Friends Pack real quick. Essentially, the Friends Pack is, all these packs, actually, the Sunset Vista one as well, are exclusive to the US, and in the Friends Pack, you get 2 more icons. In the Sunset Vista pack,
Avatars.
you get
Polar
the...
and Aku.
Yeah, in the Sunset Vista pack, you get the original Crash and remastered Crash, and in this one, you get Aku Aku and Polar as avatars. You also get this awesome-looking Polar theme, and you get to hear Barrett and Bear Down and Totally Bear's new remastered song. So I thought that was pretty cool, and the music actually sounds... people say that it sounds too synthy and too techno-y. While it does have a lot of... Go ahead.
I've heard people nitpick about it and say that, honestly, the revamped Barrett song sounds good, but it does obviously sound a lot more like it would definitely be heard in today's age, where it's a lot more with the theme of techno, like you just said, but also it feels a lot more upbeat and catchy and doesn't really feel like it had the original style from Josh Mansell's work when he tried to make it sound. You could even hear it in the song itself, that it tried to sound... The best way to describe it, I could say, is it felt like a winter song.
Yeah.
With the theme and the jingles that you hear in the background.
Yeah.
But it still sounds good. It's just that they're trying to revamp all of these songs to make it sound a lot more upbeat and catchy. Because keep in mind, people, this is on PlayStation 4. It's not on the PS1.
And remember, just like the levels and, you know, the shading and lighting and all that, they can also still change around the compositions, because I'm not sure they're being performed live. It's all being done digitally, so they can also still go back in and change a few things. Because of all the songs we've heard from Insane Trilogy so far, I'm liking Cortex Power's song, What Little You Can Hear of It, when you get past all the sound effects. I'm really liking... Good.
I was gonna say my personal favorite song that we've heard so far that got revealed would have to be "Hang 8" from Crash 2. That one sounded really good. Although I've heard a lot of people nitpick it and say that it doesn't really sound that really funky or cool. The attitude style that that song had. Well, keep in mind, people, this isn't the 90s anymore. We're not in that era. We moved on. This is the 21st century, so they have to change the songs just a little bit, but they are still the exact same songs.
Yeah, it still sounds just like the original for the most part. Obviously, Insanity Beach's music is really good. I think the 2 weakest so far, or at least the 1 weakest song, in my personal opinion, is Sunset Vistas, because it just doesn't have all of the extra little effects and whatnot, and it feels very like... Yes?
Don't remind me of the worst level in Crash 1.
It's not that bad.
Well, I ain't gonna say nothing, but hey, whatever you say.
Watch, if you happen to come over for ZapCon October, we're gonna play it, and we're gonna see.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for making me suffer.
It sounds good. Don't get me wrong. It still sounds like the original. It's just that note for note. It's just that there's a lot more they can add to it. And I feel like that's not the final version. I feel like a lot of this stuff is not the final version. Everyone needs to keep that in mind when criticizing how certain things look and sound and are and feel and whatever. Even those who played the GameStop demos, how it feels to actually play it. It's not final. They're gonna keep. They are still changing, and they're gonna keep changing stuff until the very last day when they have to finally distribute the fucking game. So they're gonna keep changing it. Like, I forget who said it, but someone said, and I don't know if it was Miyamoto or someone, that a game is never truly finished, even after it comes out. There's many things you kind of want to keep doing to it, even after you can't anymore, and you don't want to patch the game or anything like that. a game's never finished, even when we
Yeah.
finally get to play it. But they can keep making
That's
changes.
absolutely true.
Yeah, they can keep making changes and whatnot until the game actually comes out. So that I have no doubt in my mind they're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
The Friends Pack is pretty cool. Oh, go ahead.
Keep in mind, people, that what we're all seeing is still just
Work in
beta
progress.
demos. Yeah, it's still not the final versions.
Yeah, so the Friends Pack is really cool. I have it, of course, so I think it looks really nice. Even the level of detail in terms of like the little icons and stuff changed. Like they look like they're encased in ice and it's all cracked and everything. It's really cool. I dig it a lot. So Sewer Later playthrough. Let's talk about that. It looks good. It sounds good. They really did a lot more for the lighting. So like there's like lights going off that you just didn't see. You don't see that they didn't incorporate in the original game. The one thing that I thought, yeah, so seeing as they're kind of taking out some of those iconic sound effects, like with we're not gonna hear Rip Rue's laugh or anything like that. I also didn't hear. Now I didn't hear. Maybe they didn't put it in yet. Maybe they don't plan to put it in. I'm not sure. But we don't get to hear that famous Howie scream from the from the lab assistants. So it makes you wonder if they're gonna add it or not. I don't know. Because they do have a couple voice actors doing the voices of some various lab assistants. So maybe they just don't have that voice clip yet. Maybe they won't reveal it yet. I don't know. But again, small little nitpick. It's not even whatever. But I like the redesigns of the little cleaner guys. What are they called? Bubbletrons or whatever that the guy said that they were called?
That's what the enemies are called.
The narrator.
Bubbletrons.
The narrator's great. With these playthrough videos. What did you say?
My favorite part when they were showcasing off and showing the entire level of Sewer or Later was the fact that when he always by accident ended up getting hit, he would be like, "Well, this is getting really hard. This level just keeps on going and going, and the difficulty just doesn't hold up."
Oh my god, the dude's hilarious. It's campy, but it's funny. What I was gonna say though was that having the narration throughout these playthrough videos, it reminds me a lot of like a Nintendo Direct like showcase or something like that. How they do segments where they show off gameplay and they have someone narrating over it. Like ARMS has been doing it recently, but that's what it reminds me of. And it's really, I like it. I think it's really funny. It makes you wonder. Oh, what are you gonna say?
Oh, you can continue first.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. Okay, so it makes you wonder. So we saw Sewer or Later, which is in the third warp room of Crash 2. I want to see the Eel Deal's Green Gem secret. I want to see how they're gonna do. Are you just gonna clip through the freaking?
Because you have to clip through it.
Or are they gonna give you some other kind of indicator? Maybe it's like a hologram. It's not a real wall or something like that.
Yeah, a method of transportation instead of just walking right through it, and it looks like Crash is clipping right through the door.
Well, what I thought would be cool is that it was like, what if like as a very, very like subtle, like super subtle piece of detail, maybe it's like kind of fizzing and kind of glitching, and it's like not a real wall, so it's like a hologram or something. Like, I don't know. It might be a little far-fetched, but I think that'd be cool to show off that, because there's no indication in the original game that you can clip through the wall. And they never do that secret again, because obviously who the hell's going to figure that out in 1997?
Yeah, you just have, because back then you just had to guess and figure out, let me try walking through this vault. Oh, wait a minute, I can just go through it. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really vague. It's a cool secret. I really like it, but again, especially thinking about how secrets are done in today's age, like how are they going to get away with that? And seeing as they're adding the tiniest bits of detail to all kinds of things in these levels, I gotta assume that they're probably going to do something more to that wall to show maybe you could go through it, maybe we could do something with it.
Also, one other thing is that people were wondering if they were actually going to fix Crash's animation in the engine boss fight, where he actually could throw the
yeah. I think they will.
Instead of it just
flying out of like his side.
Flying out of his body. So, if you really think about it, it's cool the fact that that's how you actually beat Engine in that boss fight, but Crash is literally just standing there, and you just press the circle button, and Wampa Fruits comes flying out of him.
Yeah, yeah. Seeing as Vivi is taking again super care and attention to detail about all this stuff, and then go back and try and look through the backstory of how a lot of these things happen developmental wise with the games. I'm pretty sure they know that that was supposed to be a thing that just didn't get implemented, and they're probably going to implement it into this one. So I think they're going to include some kind of throwing animation for Crash, and they're just going to fly out of his body like they did in the original game.
Yeah. But as far as my opinions go regarding the sewer later level, I think it obviously looks really cool. The sewer levels were actually my personal favorite from Crash 2. Nice. Although there is one thing that I would have to agree with, because me and Victor were actually chatting about this earlier on Discord privately ourselves, and we were comparing it to other nitpicks, because we heard some nitpicks from fans say, oh, the lighting is really bad, it looks really dark.
It's not final.
It's not only that, but also keep in mind, people, it's a sewer. What do you expect?
Yeah.
It's not going to be bright open in daylight like the Barrett level, since he's in Antarctica. But at least from the nitpick that I personally would have to agree with Victor on this is the fact that it is cool to see a recreated sewer level, although I think there's just one problem, is the fact that it looks really clean. And as we all know, sewers are supposed to look really filthy and gross. I think even though this is still, like I said, just the beta, we still haven't seen the final version yet until it actually releases June 30th. If there's at least one other thing or two other things that they could add, I would say Vicarious Visions should try to make the pipes look a little bit more rusty and moldy. Not only that, but when Crash is scurrying through the water where the eel is inside of it, I think there should be actually a little bit of trash as well as green goo down there, because it would make sense, because obviously these are sewer levels. It's supposed to look really dirty and filthy and have a lot of detail in it and not look really pristine and clean.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna chalk it up to they'll probably see that if the more people that say stuff like that, if they, you know, but do it of course in a more, you know, concise manner and not, you know, essentially bitch about it. But if they do like how we just did, if they address concerns and, like, you know, little bits of like, well, this could be this, like I've done that too, like this could be like this or this, whatever. Like one of my little gripes was now you don't really interact with the water that's in the pipelines that's down below Crash's feet, but in Trilogy you do. There is water. Now it's a little too clear, you can't exactly see it until you see the little warpy waviness of the water in the pipelines, but it settles too fast, it looks a little clear, it's really hard to see the water. That's like if they made it more like blue or even a little more gunky or something, so you can see it a bit more clear like you can in the original game. Again, that's just, it's a little like, oh, we're just addressing something that they could possibly change. So it's just a little like, I don't know, thing that we're just bringing up. But besides that, no, it looks good, and the music, what we can hear from it, sounds really good as well. I like this new little remix of it. So it looks really nice. So seeing as that so far has been our latest playthrough video that we've gotten, what level from these two games would you like to see another playthrough on before E3?
Well, for the Crash 1 remaster, I really want to see either another boss fight shown off or Hog Wild, because we still have yet we've seen screenshots, but I want to see that level in its entirety, especially to see all of the animations where Crash jumps on the hog. We've seen him do the little up and down with his eyebrows at the very beginning before he jumps on the hog. I want to see how they jump together, what it looks like when he's riding on the hog, and also the different death animations where he gets attacked while on the hog. So I think it'll look really cool. And as far as the Crash 2 remaster goes, honestly, in terms of any particular level, there's not any one that I really want to show to other people, or there's not anyone in particular that I personally want to see. It's mainly the boss fights that I really want to see, how they're all recreated. especially because I want to see the redesigns of other characters that they haven't shown off yet, because that's what excites me the most. Not only that, but also the remade cutscenes and the redone voice acting.
It's really funny though that you mentioned Hogwild, because we actually do get the most brief little glimpse of a clip in the original very first
reveal trailer.
But it's not much to go off of exactly. You can see like the tribesman in the background. You can see his shield looks a bit different, his little barrier that he holds up. But yeah, I'd like to see a playthrough on that. But for me, I think for Crash 1, I'd like to see maybe Temple Ruins or something as a playthrough, and we'll get to our comparison videos a little bit later. For Crash 2, I'd like to see, I just had in my head, which one was it? Like Digging It or Behaving, one of those two would be really cool to see as a playthrough.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be really cool, because I want to see those levels and hear what the music sounds like. Okay, so speaking of the comparison videos, we did get a comparison for Unbearable.
Yeah.
And oh my god, that polar bear.
Yeah.
Back again 20 years later to scare a whole new generation of kids.
The mother polar bear. And now it all makes sense as to why she's so angry, because years ago people were trying to figure out why that giant mother polar bear is chasing you, and the main reason being is because, well, think about it, Crash is riding on top of her baby polar. The poor animal is just trying to knock Crash off of that.
But again, we get to hear... oh, go ahead.
Although there's one thing I noticed that they didn't fix, at least from the beta, that hopefully they do fix in the final version, is the fact that the mother giant polar bear, when it's chasing Crash and Polar, you can still see the fact that they kept this in. The fact that the mother polar bear literally just walks right over the pits.
Yeah.
When it's running down the straight path and hopping and jumping back and forth left and right, it still literally just walks and hops right on the invisible pits.
Yeah.
So hopefully they could fix that.
I think they will. They'll just include like a little jumping animation. I think they'll do that. But we actually get to hear what this music sounds like, and again, it sounds really good. It does sound faithful. It sounds a lot more faithful than some of the other tracks, in terms of just, you know, getting the instruments right and whatever, but still doing enough different to where it sounds different. I like it a lot. The level itself looks really good, so there's not much to say about it, since it's only like a 30 or so second clip. And it shows the very ending, yeah, seeing as you only get chased the one time by that polar bear. Polar is what I meant to say. But, it comes by the very, very end of the level, so it looks really cool. I like it. So, like we just did right now for the playthrough levels, what would you want to see from Crash 1 and 2 for comparisons for the side-by-sides?
What I think they should really do is compare the remade boss fights, as well as also compare the remade cutscenes. Like, obviously we've seen comparisons at the very beginning back at PlayStation Experience in December last year, when they showed off the full intro of Crash 1 recreated, and then obviously not only you, but I did see some other YouTubers like Jeremiah and RoboKai try to show off the comparisons, comparing it between the original Naughty Dog 96 intro and this remaster from 2017. Although they should also show off boss fights, as well as the 2 different good and bad endings from the Crash 1 remaster, and the same would also have to go for Crash 2.
But are there any levels you want to see, though, as well?
No.
There are no levels from Crash 1 or 2 you want to see compared in these little, like, 20, 30-second clips?
No. Because I don't want them to spoil almost every single level. I want some of them to be kept as a surprise for the final version, when we get to see how it looks recreated from the ground up for ourselves. It's great that they are doing some comparisons here and there, but I don't want them to show off way too many for both Crash 1 and 2. I want some of these to be kept as a big surprise for us when we play it for the first time blind.
Yeah, like,
I don't mind boss fights and cutscenes, but as far as levels go, I don't think they should show off too many. It's good that they showed off a few for now, but they shouldn't keep showing off way too many, because you don't want to spoil too much for this remastered trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know how many more they plan to do, and yeah, I kind of do hope that they don't do a whole lot more. But I'm on the opposite side of you with that. Like, I think that boss fights and cutscenes are way bigger than levels, so I don't want to see those yet. I'd rather see like another level or two before seeing like a full boss fight in its entirety. As much as I do want to see the boss fights, I don't want to have them, because you gotta think like, well, they did already kind of spoil a couple secrets in some of these levels to us already. I don't know about like showing off a boss fight or something, but
yeah.
If I wanted,
as far as we've seen so far regarding boss fights, all we've seen was from the reveal trailer, showed off a small segment of Papu's boss fight.
Yeah.
We also got to see screenshot images from the Komodo Brothers boss fight, and from the Cortex showcase trailer, they got to show off the final boss fight in Crash 1 and 2. Just small little segments.
Yeah. So if I had to, the levels I would want to see for a little comparison, the way they do their comparison videos, I think from Crash 1 I would like to see, probably Lights Out, because I'm curious to see how they're gonna do Aku Aku, how he lights up and all that stuff. And then I think from Crash 2 I might want to see maybe one of the space levels, not the jetpack levels, but like the Spaced Out or Piston It Away.
Yeah.
Piston It Away, but that is supposed to be a little reference to Piston It Away. Anyway, so one of those levels I like to see get a little comparison with. But yeah, so I get why you don't want to see any more. But yeah, if they wanted to give us at least one more, or hypothetically like two more from Crash 1 or 2, those were what I would personally want to see.
Yeah.
So
next, we should talk about the winners, because it was actually two that managed to win for one idol contest that they did for the fans.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. Definitely. So we finally got revealed to us the winner of the idol contest, where you submit an idol animation idea and then they pick from like a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Link down below to mine because I submitted one as well. How did we not see this coming? Well, maybe you guys did. It took me a while to be like, maybe they won't pick one that involves Wumpa Fruit, but they totally did.
Because one way or another, I knew for a fact they were actually going to include an idol animation where he was messing around in some way, shape, or form
with a Wumpa Fruit.
Because it seemed like everyone who entered the contest...
Even though we had one with Crash 1, but yeah.
I mean,
they kept,
I'm glad that they still kept it in, but this new one actually is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It involves Aku Aku, so that's really cool.
When we first saw it, the fact that Crash pulls out another Wumpa Fruit out of his ass, I'm just joking. But
it's got gems in there too, so I mean, you know.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, he's also got it stuck in his stomach.
Yeah.
He burps it out.
And his ear.
Yeah. But anyways, in the idol animation, he pulls out a Wumpa Fruit out of his sweatpants, and because keep in mind, the only time you're actually gonna see this idol animation is if you actually have Aku with you as a hit point. Because if it's just Crash by himself, then he's not gonna do this idol animation. But he pulls out a Wumpa Fruit out of his sweatpants, and he gives the little head knock sign to communicate with Aku, letting him know that they'll play volleyball together. And Aku hits it so hard that it splatters Wumpa Fruit juice all over Crash's face, and they both laugh at it. And I thought, all of us seeing it for the first time, it was really funny and cute and really simple. Although if there's one thing, this might also be considered another minor nitpick, but if there's one thing that they should add to that idol animation, it's a little bit more grunt noises. Because after watching Victor's parody, I heard a lot of people say, like, oh, they should actually include a lot of grunt noises from both Crash and Aku, because they're completely silent when they do that little idol animation. It would make a lot more sense if when the Wampa juice splatters all over Crash's face, you actually hear both of them laughing together. And then when Crash shakes it off, he's like, so they could add it in, just add in a little chuckle from Jess Harnell. It's not much, but if you did add it in, it would still be really cool. But regardless, that animation is really, really cool.
Yeah,
And
as it is right now, I think it's fun, but I like it a lot.
And if anyone was wondering what my idea, my #1 top choice for my personal idol animation, what Crash should do, because I didn't enter this contest, by the way, because I just thought that there was no purpose or reason to do it, because it's honestly just a 1 in a million shot for all of us, because they're literally just going to pick one lucky winner randomly out of the blue. But seeing as how for this idol animation contest winner, it actually ended up being 2 people that agreed on this idol animation. But as far as mine goes, what I originally thought would be cool is that we obviously know that Crash is impatient just like Sonic, and he starts tapping his foot and he's waiting and waiting because he knows that he's in a game and he's waiting for the player to actually make him move. So what I thought would be really cool is that if you actually added on to that idle animation where he gets so impatient, where as Sonic in the original games, he would start laying down, or even in Sonic CD where he would just wave his finger no and just straight up jump and it would say game over and he just left the game. What I think Crash could do is actually go close up to the fixed camera screen, start knocking on the screen, and start making a bunch of grunt noises and silly faces, trying to break the fourth wall and trying to make some little communication contact with the player, just saying like, hey, do you realize that I'm a video game character? You have to control me. You're supposed to make me move.
That would have been a great
obviously
idea. Like, I really wish you did enter and do that, because you probably could have had a good chat. No one else I've seen. The only other person I've seen do that, I forget who the name is. If I can find the picture, I'll bring it up right now. But the only other person to have an idea like that was, yeah, he gets impatient. He doesn't really have much of a mad face when he's doing like his little foot tap. But in this one, he did, and then he just starts like waving his arms and kind of like yelling at the player.
Yeah.
But this idea right here sounds really good. Actually, you really should have done something with it. It would have been cool to see it, even potentially get picked. I mean, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But for the one we got, it's called Wumpa Volley. I think it's really funny and it's really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing that sucks is that you have to have Aku Aku to do it. Although I thought it'd be funny is if what.
Although it does make sense in a way why the only reason we can actually see the animation is because you need Aku, because it makes sense because those two are best friends, and it actually does give us small little fan service moments of those two actually interacting and socializing with each other, instead of just playing through the game and the only time they really interact is whenever Crash gets hit and suddenly Aku goes away, or when he comes out of his crate, he just says that Urubaga. But besides that, the fact that they actually did add a little bit more new character development to those two actually interacting with each other as best friends, now it's actually making sense why you need to see Aku actually with Crash in order to see the animation.
I thought it'd be funny as like a solo variant if he tried to do it and he hit it up and it just like arced, fell on the floor, and he just got like sad. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
So there's something there for when you don't have him, because it kind of does suck that you're only gonna be able to see this if you have him. But I don't know. I like it. I'm not like knocking it down for anything. I think it's really cool. So it's really funny. Next item at hand. Go ahead.
And of course, last bit of Crash news that we have to cover.
Wait, not yet. There's one more thing. Before that.
All right.
All the fucking merchandise.
Well,
there's a lot. I just want to go off.
There's a lot. There's a lot that I've been hearing about, and I know that for popping up is because, keep in mind, Activision did register for 2 Crash trademarks. One for the franchise itself, and the second one regarding Crash merchandise, because they actually still want to make that relevant as a thing to sell in stores, as well as also through online shopping. So continue about it.
Yeah, so we're not gonna go over all the stuff because there's a lot, but I'll be throwing up a few pictures right here as we talk about it. Basically, there's a couple of shirts. There's like these little pins and like these like stickers and stuff. What I think is really cool, I'll have it up right here. There's these mugs fashioned off the Crash Life crate, the 1-Up crate, the Nitro, and the TNT crate. That is awesome. I want those. Yeah. Those look really cool. Of course, some keychains, other kinds of mugs that aren't, you know, crate shaped. Basic stuff so far for right now, but it looks really neat. I really do like it.
Although if they want to have a little bit of more merchandise to sell to the fans, what they should really do is give fans more plushies of Crash as well as all the other characters.
Yeah, oh definitely. I would love to get like, you know, modern Crash plushies. That'd be awesome. So yeah, super briefly, just wanted to mention that there's a bunch of merchandise that's been shown off by various retailers in various like countries and wherever else. So there's a lot right here, and we don't have anything official like over here in the US for us to be like, oh, official merchandise. You know, pre-order the shirts or whatever now, because they won't be coming out for some time until they make enough to actually sell. But for what we see so far right here, it looks really good. I really like it. A couple of these pins come in like a freaking crate. So that's cool. I mean, not an actual crate, but it's themed after the Crash crate. So that's really awesome.
I want the crates.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm loving those mugs. I want those mugs so bad. Those look really cool.
Hey, well, you never know, man. Maybe you'll just have to wait until the next package that I send you in the mail.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I still have stuff to send you. Don't send me anymore. I have to send to you first. I have to do nice deeds first. Anyway. So there's that. There's a lot to go over, so I just wanted to highlight it a little bit. But yeah, now you can introduce the second to last topic.
The elephant in the room, the main cherry on top of the cake that we have, the big latest tweet announcement that we got that made everyone flip out, including myself, because we all agreed that this was definitely better than was already shown off early. The fact that now we actually have final box art cover for the Insane Trilogy.
It looks so good.
Compared to the original placeholder beta box art cover that they had, where it was just Crash and
with his arms out
up top. Yeah. And the reason why he's in that pose is because it's his Waha pose from Crash
the first
1
game,
at the beginning of the title screen. But this one in particular, honestly, does look better, and there's 3 reasons why. Number 1, you can obviously tell they put a lot more detail into it.
Yeah.
In terms of the way that the characters look, as well as also the background. Number 2, they added in Aku and Cortex, and keep in mind that we also have yet to see what the back cover side looks like. So they could actually add more and expand from it on the back if they add in more detail for the background of it's based off of levels or redesigns of all the other classic characters. Or they could even try to make it in a similar style, similar to Mutants, with its backside box art cover where it showed off Crash doing another funny pose. But also, the last reason being is because of Crash himself, the fact that it looks like he's running up right to the top, and he has his fingers out that point out the number 3, the fact that it represents the original classic trilogy. Although, if there's at least one thing that I think that could have made it even better, it already is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but if there's one thing that could have made it even better, is if in the background, seeing as how it splits off into 3 different sections where it shows off Insanity Beach, Barrett, and Cortex's Celeste should do is actually for Cortex's lab, replace that with either
a level
or...
Wait, can you repeat the last, like, little sentence there? Because you were lagging out, like, really bad.
Okay. What I was saying was, if there was at least one thing that they could change for the box art cover, seeing as how Insanity Beach represents Crash 1, Barrett represents Crash 2, and then we have Cortex's lab, and that's obviously from the intro of Crash 1. I think that's one that they should actually replace and instead either put in a background for a level from Crash 3 or even a background from one of the boss fights. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I think that's at least one thing that they should change just so it actually is a better way to represent all three of the classic original games.
Yeah, I mean, we do see the vortex right there, but the feeling I got from that was that can possibly represent how Cortex's lab is basically where you do the fight in Crash 3. So that was the vibe I got from that. But I definitely see that it looks more it kind of does represent Crash 1 a little bit more than Crash 3. But the vibe I got from it was that it could represent his lab from Crash 3, even though it doesn't really look like it. But that was what I got from it. But I definitely see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
It looks
But
really
overall,
good. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, overall, up until now, that's all the latest Crash news that's recently come out to the public that we've seen on the web from VD. Although, as always, all of us are still keeping up to date every single day and every single night, 24/7, trying to wait and see what other Crash news comes out. And whenever Crash news comes out, you guys can always expect videos from the biggest Crash YouTubers. Although for me personally, the reason why you guys on my channel might not see that many relevant videos talking about all the news that comes out is because I really want to share my opinions and thoughts and reactions towards some of the biggest highlights whenever we get redesigns of characters or trailers. But if it's just, you know, songs or recreated levels, I don't want to make videos talking about it because I don't think it's necessary that I would have to make a Crash video every single time news comes out because so many other YouTubers do it anyways.
Yeah, so hold on real quick. We do have one final thing left to go over, and it's going to be pretty brief, but my final thoughts on this art is that it looks really good. Actually, since it's basically the same team who worked on Skylanders, the way the box art looks and the detail went into it, it looks a lot like those like character like standalone pieces of art from Skylanders. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So it's just something to think about.
Although there is one thing that I've heard a lot of people complain about with this brand new box art.
Oh jeez, what are they complaining about?
It's the fact that I've heard some comments from people saying, oh, this looks really good, but it honestly looks like a joke in comparison to other box arts that we've had from Crash games in the past, especially the original Naughty Dog PS1 box art covers. Or I've even heard a lot of other comments. I've heard a lot of other comments from people saying, oh, this looks a lot better compared to the ugly box art from Mind Over Mutant. Here's the thing that people actually don't realize. Here's the thing that fans don't realize is the fact that the artist drew the box art for Insane Trilogy and the Radical Crash games.
Wow.
So,
plus,
to tell you the truth, the joke's really on them. So
plus Mutants cover. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not going to get into the whole controversy about the Radical Crash games, Titans and Mutants, but yes, it is true. Just in case you guys didn't know, the same artist that drew the box art covers for Titans and Mutants also did the box art cover redone for Insane Trilogy. So for the people that say, oh, it was bad in Titans and Mutants, but say that you're going to praise it for Insane Trilogy, no offense, but that's kind of hypocritical. The fact that you want to say it was bad because you didn't like the Radical Crash games, but now you praise it because it's going back to the style of Naughty Dog Crash.
Yeah, plus specifically Mind Over Mutants cover was supposed to look like that. It was supposed to be kind of campy, being like, oh, it's supposed to look all CG because it's making fun of how everything is like in CG nowadays. So that's why it looked the way it did and all hyper realistic and all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, this box art, once they finally show it to us, like what it looks like in the case and everything, I want to see that. It looks really freaking good. I really like it.
Also, people are still questioning if they're actually going to include instruction manual and possible DLC. There are still rumors regarding the season pass, if that's a pre-order bonus.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything really much about that, but I really do hope that they make some kind of a manual, or there's probably going to be some kind of strategy guide as well, which I would definitely get. So that'd be awesome. Speaking of covers, also, last point before we get to our last point. So, I can't find the picture on Twitter. You're probably hearing me clicking around a lot just a while ago. But there is a picture that came out pretty recently, and it's very interesting because it shows some of that stuff at the pre-order or whatever, and do this. And apparently there might be little postcard-looking things. I don't know if they're postcard. I don't know what they are, but there's 3 of them, and they each resemble the 3 games covers.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll send you.
And they're redone.
I'll send you that little image later, so that way you can edit it in this podcast and show it off to people trying to explain what you're talking about.
So it's very blurry, and it's very, you can't see a whole lot of detail, but you can definitely make out, since Crash 1 is obviously on the top, you can definitely see that that's the render they use for their like cover photo for like Facebook and Twitter and all that. So it is, since that one is already based off of Crash 1's cover art, like to a T. So they used it, and they had the whole like black background. He's ripping through the black like I guess background, whatever. He's ripping through it. It looks just like the first cover art. And then there's 2 more little pictures behind that, and you can see that it's Crash 2 and Crash 3. So that's really awesome. So they did recreate those, which I wanted to see a whole lot. So if we get to see those eventually in the future, I'm going to be excited. So,
As far as any other points that I could let people know about if they still don't know at this point, is the fact that you're actually going to be the lucky one out of all the other fans to actually attend this year's E3 for Sony's press conference.
Yeah.
You're going to be there to witness everything up close in person. And of course, when it comes to Crash Bandicoot The Insane Trilogy, you're going to head right down to the demo show floor so you could play it, get it recorded, upload it on your channel, and then possibly do a quick little interview with one of the Vicarious Vision devs that are there trying to help promote the game, so that way you could get as many questions answered right before the game's final release.
Yeah, so yeah.
And the fact that you might actually get to play off a demo for the Warped Remaster.
Yeah, so that does lead into our final point. Yeah, so E3, what we're thinking, like we said before, is that Warped will be shown off at E3. What was I going to say about that? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it to the conference because Sony did finally reveal when they're having their conference, and it's on it's that Monday on the 12th at 6 o'clock in Pacific Standard Time. So, unfortunately, we're going to be on the road, so I'm not going to be able to actually go there, but we're definitely going to catch it.
However, the good news is the fact that you're still going to be attending.
Yeah, at the expo. We're going to the expo, yeah.
Yeah. And you're obviously still going to get to go to the show floor to play the demo for Insane Trilogy and possibly get an interview with one of the VV devs.
Yeah. So, so last thing before we end off, how do you think they're gonna do this? What do you think they'll show from Warped, and how do you think the trailer will go? How do you think they're gonna finally get to the topic of Crash?
In my opinion, the best way that they could show off one big final hyped trailer to get people hyped up and anticipated one last time for the Insane Trilogy right before it releases June 30th at the end of that month. The best way to have a big final trailer, in my opinion, here's how it should go. Either Sean Layden, because he loves to tease and joke around Crash so much, either him or another Sony representative comes out on stage and of course says, hey, we have to show you a brand new trailer for a classic PlayStation IP that's going to be getting his big remaster at the end of this month. And then obviously everyone's going to know, similar to how they revealed the Insane Trilogy at PlayStation Experience, people automatically know, oh, it's obviously going to be showing off a new trailer for the Insane Trilogy. Although the best way that they should show it off is, I think that they should try to make it similar to the reveal for the Insane Trilogy, where it says it's all 3 games remastered from the ground up, Although this time around, what they should do is not only show off finally the Warped remaster and what it looks like, but the best way is to actually show off all 3 at once, just to show how insane and crazy this trilogy really is.
Yeah.
The fact that you get to see all 3 of them remastered from the ground up.
Yeah, a little bit of new stuff. A little bit of new stuff for Crash 1, a little bit of new stuff from Crash 2, then finally drop Crash 3.
And also, one last thing that I have to say about this game when it releases to the public. Please, Sony, Vicarious Visions, and Activision, promote this game on TV commercials and internet ads. All you have to do
I think they
is
will.
just get someone to dress up in a Crash suit. It could even be a brand new Crash suit or an old one pulled out of storage. But
They pulled out the ones from the old commercials at PSX.
Yeah, we saw that from the image. But for this new one, either an old one or a new costume, just get someone to dress up in it, get a megaphone, have them drive down to Nintendo of America and Microsoft's corporation company, and makes that person in the Crash suit talk smack on them to get people hyped up and excited for the Insane Trilogy. The fact that Crash is back. Hey, Plumber Boy, look who's back. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, only on PlayStation 4, June 30th. Because guess what? If you bring those commercials back that were in the same style as the 90s Naughty Dog commercials, then I guarantee the game will actually have more better sales. Either way, it's still going to sell well. But if little kids end up seeing that either on TV or the internet, I guarantee it would definitely make them laugh and definitely interest them, and they'll definitely want to buy the Insane Trilogy and potentially become fans of this franchise, getting to play it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I think they would, like, you know how sometimes during the presentations, they don't even have a transition. Sometimes they just have one game to show it off, and then once that trailer's done, they'll just go to another one. So it'd be actually more of a shock if they just went from one to just Crash, and it's like, oh shit, here we go, finally, more Crash stuff, and then they start it off however they want to start it off, but it shows some Crash 1 stuff, maybe even a couple new things here and there, some Crash 2 stuff, and again, maybe a couple new things here and there, and then finally drop Crash 3 on us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's how I see it happening, but it'd be awesome. I mean, I don't know what kinds of, they could show off a couple of the motorcycle levels, they could probably show off, I don't know, there's a lot to show off for Warp, so of course they don't want to show too much, but a few levels here and there.
There's only so much that they can show without showing off the major spoilers.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff. But that'd be awesome, and I'm super hyped for E3, so I'm really thinking that that's where it's going to go down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we wanted to cover. It's a lot. There's been so much. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna check the Twitter right now to make sure that nothing's popped up as we're talking.
Check it live right now as we're doing this podcast to see if any news popped up. That would be hilarious. I would die of laughter right now.
No, there's nothing. But that'd be hilarious.
I knew it, but you had to check it just to be sure.
It'd be funny. We've been talking for like an hour, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, guys.
Any last words before we end off?
All I have to say for my final words is that the Bandicoot is back. This is what you guys wanted. After waiting 9 years, he's finally returned back home where he belongs. And make sure all of you buy the Insane Trilogy, even if you've already played again, day in, day out, the original Naughty Dog trilogy. Still, you should buy and replay this Insane Trilogy, or even for the first time for newcomers into the franchise, so that way you can show as much support as possible to Vicarious Visions, so that way we, the fans, can show them that we still love and support this franchise to death, and we want it to stay relevant in the gaming industry, and to hopefully and possibly in a few years from now get either a brand new reboot like we've never seen before in the style of Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, where it's an open sandbox world Crash game, or they could always do another spin-off Crash game. You never know. Maybe another racing game, a party game, or even What if we saw a Crash game that actually took on a brand new genre of gaming, but not an FPS Crash game? Let's just get that out of the way. No way we want to see that happen.
Oh, come on. Everyone wants Crash of Duty.
I knew you were gonna say that, but in the end, people, plain and simple, show as much support as possible to the Insane Trilogy, and in a few years from now, I guarantee you, we're gonna see something brand new like you've never seen before for this franchise.
Yeah, definitely. And someone out there, please make a freaking little campaign dealio for Crash of Duty Wumpa War 2. We need that. We so need that. But no, seriously.
Yeah.
Crash's future is looking really bright, and everything with his future, and even Spyro's, to a certain extent, with these cartoon character platformers, it all depends on the Insane Trilogy's success, which I have no doubt that it will do very well, seeing as they're having, you know, constant contact with fans, always taking in feedback, including fans with this whole idol contest and all that stuff. So they're definitely making this for the fans, seeing as they're fans themselves. So it's essentially by fans for fans in a way. And because they've worked on Crash games before, we can totally trust them, and it's all good. I think that Crash's future is looking up, and it's going to be really good. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning in for this freaking hour and like 20-minute podcast. I've had a lot of fun talking with you about it.
I did as well.
Lots of stuff to go over.
Always fun talking about Crash Bandicoot. We could talk about it 24/7.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, let's not prolong this any longer. I'm Marcelo.
I'm G-Man Rocks.
And thank you guys for tuning in so much. We'll see you guys later, and take care.
Bye.
Bye.